The following is brought to you in part by a grant from the Foundation for White Wellbeing.
They say we need a hero riding tall through the dust, but he's already here, standing strong with us. Jason's a name, and he won't bow down. He cares for our folk when the world turns round. No white guilt, he sings it plain. He don't play their villain in their crooked playing. Loves his banner, not spite or shame. No white guilt, Jason's a name. They tried to shun him, say he's out of line, but he's steady in the truth, and the man won't hide. Not about hating, it's about what's ours, holding on to kinfolk through the midnight hours. No white guilt, he sings it plain. He don't play their villain in their crooked playing. Loves his banner, not spite or shame. No white guilt, Jason's the name. Most don't know it yet, but the word's gonna spread. There's a way to walk tall with hope instead. If you're tired of the weight they're strapping on you, take a lesson from the man, let your spirit shine through. No white guilt, he sings it plain. He don't play their villain in their crooked playing. Loves his banner, not spite or shame. No white guilt, Jason's the name. Yeah, the hero's here, don't you forget. Most just don't know it yet.
And we are rolling and going free. Let me know that you can hear me. All right. Rolling and going free, Church of the West. Make sure you switch over on YouTube to live chat. If you are on YouTube right now and you're listening, Top Chat will censor some comments from your vision. So make sure you do that. Otherwise, on the other platforms, I don't think that happens. Looking for people over here on the live chat on X, which is up and running. Happy Thanksgiving as we near the Thanksgiving time. Looks like we have Land of the Fake is over there. Great Land of the Fake pointing out on Premium Rumble that he is seeing so many, all caps, people use the lexicon now. It is spreading. It is indeed exactly as we said it would. Isn't that something? These kind of things, saying, here's our strategy, it works this way, let's implement it, outlining it logically and using reason, and intelligent people can look at that and say, I think that will work. That sounds like it will work. And then it's applied and it does work. What more evidence do you need? What more proof do you need? Audio is booming. says Tree Godfather. Tommy says loud and clear. Hyperborean Dream, thumbs up on the audio. Thank you so very much. Does anyone have a plan? Says Lost Pilgrim's Journey. As a matter of fact, we do. And Land of the Fake is privy to the application of the practice and how we promulgate it and how it operates. And here he is starting right off on Premium Rumble, speaking to your question about a plan. It's working. And thank you so much for being here. Thank everybody for coming over. We have a foundation, the Foundation for whitewellbeing.org. It's a 501c3. And it endorses and supports the work that we do here in service to white well-being by way of the practice, the Go Free Dialogic, endless success stories, and they will continue to mount. So we will continue applying the strategy for our people and the recapture of our destiny. That's a 501c3. You can donate there. And if you would like those dollars to come specifically to me or half of them, or you can say as much in your donation. And thank you for that. You can also head on over to knowwhyguild.org, click on the financial gift tab. You'll see the options here, including the app that permits cash and so many others that I will be looking at while we are together. That one, Subscribe Star, I'll be keeping an eye on while we're together as well. Of course, as Premium Rumble and D Live, both all four up and running. And finally, Entropy, Dude Bro Moment platform up and running. I'll be keeping an eye on that while we are together too. But over there on knowwhyguild.org, you'll find a snail mail address. You'll find some cryptocurrency wallets. And we do appreciate your financial gifts deeply. They are the fuel that moves this engine that has demonstrated its great success moving down the racetrack and winning in every drag race we have with anti-whiteism and anti-whites. So I duly appreciate that. Otherwise, please tag me on any of these platforms as @KnowWhyGuilt so I can see. I've said hello over on Premium Rumble and on D Live, so it should light up for me when you tag, and it should automatically appear for you as you begin to type it in now that I've said hello. So thank you for that. Please take the opportunity as we are saying our hellos to tweet, retweet, quote tweet, grab the URL, share on other platforms, Instagram. I know Anglo-Saxon, NWG, rocking it over there like you wouldn't believe with some others. Facebook, wherever else you feel inspired to do some swashing by sharing that we are together today. Church of the West, as you can see, we are coming up on Thanksgiving. It's definitely fall. It's dark outside by noon, practically. And the temperatures are very chilly. We are very chilly this evening. So anybody that braves the cold temperatures to come to Church of the West, I deeply appreciate it. I deeply appreciate it. Rapunzel is with us, and the Westman and the great Franklinator in the house. Hard is with us. Problematic Biospirit, Bobby Boldly, and Tommy Karate. Is that what that says? Cool name. And who else do we have here who have come over? The great OT leader himself, Biospirit of the West, is in the house. Good to see you, good brother. Nameless One is here as well. Nothing but the champions show up on Wednesdays. We got a couple things we're going to cover today. We got the question of the day. Actually, two questions of the day that we'll dip into in just a moment. And we have a couple of stories. The Trump says U.S. will sell F-35 jets to the Saudis, and Israel and Israel firsters in the United States. Not very happy about that. So I think we'll laugh about that together. And another, and there's the great clean one. Such an epic champion, so clean, so pristine. Thank you so much. Reposting the stream. Man, I might as well take up a career as a white rapper. But unlike Stu Peters becoming a wigger, I would probably lose, whatever that word even means. I would, I'm sure, lose everybody becoming a white rapper. But oh, that's right. That's because I'm I'm supposed to be for white people and not just against another group of humanity. Juliet is with us. She says, no white guilt in all. Hello and good evening. Well, big Promethean welcomes to you, Juliet. Good to see you. Jason is here. Good evening, he says, with a great name. Thank you so much for that. Please give a like on whatever platform you're on, especially YouTube. Please give a like, and we'll see if that helps at all. But so many things. We've got the firepower being sold, or I guess in the process potentially of being sold to Saudi Arabia to chat about, as well as another micro study on online dating, specifically Tinder, and done by a content creator with the accompaniment of another content creator, very handsome German guy. I think he's a German guy. And he kind of half-assed it. So he kind of undermined the results a little bit, but you'll still be shocked. So we'll talk about that. Who do we see? Remember, tag me as @ no white guilt, nowhiteguiltcollectibles.com, nowhiteguiltcollectibles.com for my books with signatures and so much more we have there. Inspired geniuses of Western kind over there doing magnificent things. You can check that out as well. We have... who else do we have here? Looks like Jenny is over there on Premium Rumble. Hey, Jason. Thanks for saying everything. We all feel we will succeed in taking our power back. Absolutely. We absolutely will. All right. So let us see. I do want to thank Hartza. This past Sunday, he had, I think, financially gifted a 1 lemon of cryptocurrency over there. But before we wrapped up, I think it was, I didn't see and didn't mention, 2 more lemons of cryptocurrency. Thank you for that, brother. I appreciate it. And big thank you to Anglo-Saxon NWG for that opening song that we have played past couple of Wednesdays. I could just imagine the schmucks now hearing that song, losing their minds. Absolutely losing their minds. He's so arrogant. He's so arrogant. Nowhere Man is here, and he's somewhere now. Foster is here. Ralisunra. Is that how it's pronounced? John is here. Good. And Alex. Both are here. Thank you all for coming over. Let's take a look at the questions of the day, shall we? God bless. Best friend of Jesus has shown up in the live chat. Good to see you, brother. Question number 1. What fictional character do you have a beef with, or might you like to start a beef with? I have an idea that some folks might have some answers for this. Question number 1. If you would like for me to potentially respond to your answers, tag me as @NoWhiteGuilt, Q1, and answer the question. Same for question number 2, but you'll just change it to Q2. What's the weirdest gift you've ever received? You might also have a weird gift that you have gifted. What is either way, a weirdest gift you've received or weirdest gift that you have gifted? Either way, if you would like to share it, let me know. Fictional character that you have a beef with or might like to have. I don't know. I can tell you about at least nothing's occurring to me immediately here. I can tell you about a weird gift. Now, it wasn't technically meant for me, but it ended up for me. I was in an event, and this was many years ago, and we were all dressed up in, and it was a bunch of actors and people who had been actors. And talking about actors, looks like Dallas Malloy is in the house. I was thinking about actors. I immediately rolled this way to see if she was here, and there she is. Hello to you. So it's a bunch of actors and former actors, and I don't think any of them had done anything like movies, like big movies or anything like that, but that kind of a crowd. And I want to say there was some kind of theme where we were dressed. This was so long ago. And it was during Christmas time. And there was some kind of a gift. I don't know exactly. Maybe y'all can tell me, some kind of a gift game where all of the gifts were, and maybe is that called White Elephant, where they're all up on a table. You can't see what they are. You go up in front of this big room of people, and I don't know, they're about 50. And you pick a gift and you open it, then you see what you have. And the rules were that you had to tell everyone why you liked the gift so much, or what kind of an effect this wonderful gift had on you. And then did they I guess there were people stealing gifts where they said, okay, I'm going to trade it for that person. It was uproarious. There were people were drinking. Nobody was drunk, I don't think, but it was a little bit of inebriation. And I was very curious what I was going to end up with, and then curious of, as I'm sitting there, what am I going to say in front of all these, most of them strangers, and a lot of them strangers. And so I went up to when it became my turn, and it was actually quite near the end. I think there were only like maybe 6 or so gifts left. And I picked up this gift, and the table was behind the lectern. And so you had your back to the audience, who had, over the course of these gifts, developed this habit of kind of going quiet, or mostly quiet, as the person opened their gift, and waited patiently for them to come to the microphone and share their thoughts on the gift. And a lot, I got to tell you, so many of the thoughts on the gifts were just lame. I love this gift because I always wanted it. I could use this in my mud room, and I'll just, kind of, you might expect more from actors. And but it just wasn't happening. Although, like I said, it was quite boisterous, and there was good bonhomie in the room. And so I get up there and I start opening this gift, and I get it open, and it is a Barbie doll. It's a Barbie doll that had this great gown, that like hoop skirt kind of thing that went out. It's quite large. I mean, the hoop skirt, diameter was like this, and then it was a Barbie doll, and this hoop skirt was composed of seashells. I don't know if that was, I doubt they sold that originally that way. Somebody modified it later with seashells. This is a very personalized thing. And so I look at this thing, and I suddenly am kind of dumbfounded of, what am I going to say that's going to be better than all of the lame stuff that had gone before? I guess most of it was lame, maybe not all of it lame. So what am I going to say? I could turn around and be like, well, I always wanted a Barbie, and walked away. And so it occurred to me that, and that would have been like a couple of laughs, but I wanted to do better than that. So it occurred to me that there was an opportunity there for physical comedy before I turned around to say anything, which gave me an opportunity to think a little bit longer while I'm pulling off the physical comedy, to think a little bit longer about what I could say in response to this gift. So I stared at it, and the seconds were ticking by, and it started getting a little uncomfortable I'm assuming this, for the people in the room. And then I acted like I was going to turn around, but then I turned back, like I was really struggling with, oh my God, this is the most ridiculous gift ever. And so chuckles and everything started scampering across the room. Then I set it down. You could tell, of course, even though you're behind me, that I set it down and I stepped back for a second. And then I stepped up again, and the laughter got louder. And people were really starting to kind of roar. And then what set it off was, as the laughing started dying down, I took a really visible, deep breath. Like I went like this. And when I did that, the place exploded with laughter. And a couple of the people, too, who had really great laughs were just roaring. And that's always the best if you're trying to get a group of people to laugh, to have people who have one or more that have a really great laugh. And they were just detonating with laughter at this point. Like, what could Jason, who is, he's fit, he's masculine, what could he be looking at? he's really internally struggling with. So I picked it up again and took a step backward to get me closer to the lectern so I wouldn't have to walk to the lectern. I would just be able to do a 180, and I would be there at the microphone with the gift. And when I did that 180 and I spun around holding this Barbie doll with this giant shell dress thing that she was wearing, which of course was rigid. It's made out of shells. When I spun around with that, man, the place blew up again with laughter. And I let the good time roll a little bit, and until the laughter was dying down, almost gone. And then I leaned into the microphone and I said, "I'm shell-shocked." And it exploded again with laughter. And of course, I ended up, there was a little girl, somebody had brought, I guess a couple had brought their children, but there was clearly one little girl who really wanted that Barbie. And so she ended up with that Barbie. But that was the weirdest gift. Maybe one of the weirdest that I'd ever gotten. Look at Princess Noodles coming in. God bless you, Princess Noodles. It's kind of like there is a spirit behind a couple of these accounts. And the great Stumbling is here. Stumbling says, Captain Planet needs a slap. Don't know who that is, but slap away. Slap away, my friends. Arden Party has joined us. Remember, if you have an answer for this, I'm sure there are fictional, there are, my dander can get up. It's kind of a thing for me. And so it can be a character on a commercial, and I can become inordinately angry with something trivial, but it passes. It's not, really objectionable. Bone Score is here. Hello and welcome. Good to see Nameless One, Eva, MJ in the house. Let's see. Best Friend of Jesus says, question number 2, a glass water pipe shaped like Donald Trump that was made of orange glass that's made in Australia. That's a pretty weird gift. That's funny. Oh my God. Tree Godfather. Yes. Answer to question number 1, Pepe the Frog. Yes, him. Yeah, with a baseball bat with a couple of nails driven all the way through it. Yes, I'm feeling the same energy. Lost Pilgrim's Journey. I'm guessing this is a character that you would like to have a beef with rather than a gift you received because you said Allah. Autumn Party says Anakin Skywalker. That guy was a knob. You got a beef with him. All right. I get it. That makes sense. I guess he really was. Very annoying. Answer to question number 2. Weirdest gift. Once gave a friend a crank for a 1939 Ford truck. That's actually pretty cool. It was a joke about him being cranky. Yes, I'm sure you appreciated that much, my dear friend. That would be cool, though, to hang on the wall in the garage if you were a gearhead. Tree Godfather, question number 2. A battery-operated wedding gift. Yeah, that would be a weird gift to receive. Nope, I haven't had that. I haven't had that gifted to me. If you want to answer one of these questions, make sure you tag me at symbol no white guilt and the Q1 or Q2 or both. The great Ivan, the horrible on Premium Rumble. Run in Fear Ivan is here. Says, question number 1, Homer Simpson. He's got a big beef with. He's a goofy and dumb and weak, says Ivan. Ivan does not like Homer Simpson. Okay, so you got a big beef with him. Want to club him over the head like a baby seal. Question number 2. A bit it? Ivan didn't want it when Ivan was given it. Now Ivan wishes Ivan had kept it. How old were you then? What stage of life, my friend? No more screaming, he says. The great Ivan. All right. Like I said, let us know if you have an answer. And otherwise, you can just share it with the audience. And I will get to it. Let's get this news up on the screen. I don't know. I guess he's properly you have to have the space for that, my brother. And does your bathroom have the space? Come on, come up on the screen, my brother. Here we go. Does your bathroom have the space for the bidet? Bidet? I don't think I would use that because what seems off about it? I don't know. I don't know. Trump says U.S. will sell F-35 stealth jets to the Saudis. Do you think when they were in the Oval Office, Trump was, and he fired back at that reporter, Mary something or other, her name. Do you think ABC fired back at her because he was not using a bidet? Prince Mohammed visits. Kingdom's de facto ruler to arrive on first White House trip since killing of a journalist. Donald Trump is to welcome, which just happened, Mohammed bin Salman to Washington on Tuesday in a red carpet visit expected to result in the sale of highly advanced U.S. F-35s. But isn't that the question? are they actually going to get the highly advanced F35s? I guess we'll talk about that in a second. Fighter jets to the Gulf monarchy. The Crown Prince's arrival in Washington will be his first White House visit since the killing in 2018 of Washington Post journalist and critic of the kingdom, Jamal Khashoggi. The U.S. later determined Khashoggi's murder was approved by the Crown Prince, leading to global condemnation. So Mary Bruce, I think, from ABC, she decided to ask some questions in an impertinent way, to ask about this journalist, which of course is kind of inappropriate for the setting. But also she asked, of course, about Epstein, and she asked, what else did she ask about? Something else that Trump was connected with. Make no mistake, when it comes to Epstein, if there was anything there, and we've mentioned this before when we were quite upset with Trump and his dismissal of Epstein's documents all being opened and revealed the files, that if there had been anything there that could have brought Trump down, the Democrats would have used it. They threw everything, even the bidet, at him. And they would have used that as well. What is, for the love of God, let's see if we can fix that. What's really going on here, as we mentioned back then, is that there are obviously friends in the government, allies in the government, elected officials, people in the bureaucracy who went to the Epstein Island, who is, of course, my opinion, and they would be done if that information got to the public. And there are plenty of others on the Democrat side, maybe people behind the scenes as well, who Trump and the Republicans can now potentially manipulate if the information doesn't leak about them being in with Epstein and underage girls, or just even of age girls. But they're held to a higher bar when you're in government. And so you can't be going to orgies and the public finding out about that. It's just, no. And that's why, of course, there have been these intimations that this could really cause a crisis of leadership in the country. So many people, so much of the electorate would say, God, they're either with people of age, but they're having all of this debaucherous orgies and stuff, or they're with minors, and this is child rape. And so that's what I imagine is behind the dragging of the feet, not because Trump had done anything that would undermine him and his character. But she asked these things, Mary Bruce, and Trump then chastised her right there on the spot and threatened to pull the license. Of course, he would have to have the FCC do this, but threatened to pull the license by way of the FCC of ABC. And this, as you all know, is something that I've been arguing for many, many years, that before we were streaming, before any of this, that as we recapture our destiny, more and more of our people come on board for white well-being, but more broadly, the lexicon is being used by more and more white people, creating a people out of our deracinated race. That one of the steps that can be taken when it comes to these media companies is to pull their license. Because if you pull their license, they cannot broadcast. Now, why would pulling the license not work today? Because of the moral tapestry of the country. Too many people are too anti-white. Too few people are concerned with the well-being of Western kind and therefore the well-being of themselves individually. So they cannot endorse extreme measures. They will not endorse extreme measures. If you have a sizable part of the white population in the United States and when I say sizable, I don't mean like 80%, 20%, 5%. I don't know what the magic number would be. But if you have enough people using the lexicon and a politician wants to take a step like this, how will they receive that news? They'll say, good, that media empire is harming our people, Western kind, and therefore me individually, therefore the people who are around me that I care most about, my family members, my friends. Currently, your average white person is far more likely to be a cuck than anything. And if they were to hear, oh, we're pulling the license for ABC, what's the reasoning going to be to pull their license? That they're mean, that they report inaccurately? The average white cuck is going to say, wait on my beach. Let them lie. Let them. But what happens to an abstraction? What happens to the arguments of freedom of speech in light of the moral argument of the well-being of our people and therefore the well-being of ourselves as individuals? Well, you can see when we look at the other side of the spectrum when it comes to anti-whites. They run roughshod over freedom of speech, freedom of association, right to self-defense, national borders, on and on and on, because of the social morality. So if you want to have that kind of outcome, then you need to supplant the anti-white immoral imperative, our social morality, with a white positive moral imperative created by the Go Free dialogic. That's how that works. So no, Trump's not going to be able to pull the license under any argument because there'll be no support. You then say, well, what about the legality of it? Well, could they sue? Could they? Again, in today's climate with an anti-white anti-white immoral imperative as our social morality, nothing. Every legal argument will be interpreted in a way to comport with that anti-white immoral imperative. If you have a white positive moral imperative, then the laws would be interpreted to comport with the white positive moral imperative. And there will be, as a consequence of the starting point for the argument, deductions that grow therefrom that can be used in courts of law for this is why this is legitimate, this is why this is legal, this is why this must be done. Swaying judges, swaying lawyers, swaying elected officials. I know a lot of people out there can't understand it. And they're like, this guy, he's got lots of words. But what did you think Recapturing Our Destiny would look like? Like a caveman swinging a club in a one-car garage? Is that really what you thought it would look like? Give me a break. That's what so many of these other arguments, that's what they amount to. A caveman swinging a club in a one-car garage. So let's continue. The Crown Prince's arrival in Washington will be his first White House visit since the 2018 killing. Trump has rehabilitated the relationship and is expected to announce billions of dollars in deals with the 40-year-old prince, whose father, King Salam blah, 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 is 89 and has retreated from public view. Maybe he's in bad health. The U.S. and Saudi leaders will hold discussions and end the day with a White House dinner organized by Melania Trump. Does she come out in a cute little maid outfit? That'd be nice. They have been a great ally, Trump said, of the Saudis, and on the eve of the visit, during which he said Washington would be selling F F-35 stealth fighters. They are primarily manufactured by the U.S. defense contractor Lockheed Martin and cost around $80 million to $110 million each. Geez, there are there are quite a few YouTube content creators that could buy one of these things with all the money they bring in, wrecking super sport cars and for the tarred population of America and beyond. It's astonishing what garbage the population has become. Ivan has reposted the stream. Thank you, brother. So there you have, there's a beautiful chat right there. Look at that. All right, more talk about the reporter that got himself executed. Who is this saying? I hope they look at the American values of human rights and democracy, besides any economic ties and selling weapons, she said. There's something missing, she added, which she said was looking for real justice. Khashoggi's dismembered body has never been found. Right. The sale of the jets is also significant, as it would mark the first delivery of the advanced fighter jets to a Middle Eastern state apart from Israel. For years, the U.S. has exclusively supplied Israel with advanced weapons to give the country an advantage against its neighbors. Now, I don't know if they're going to talk about that here, but back in when Bush was in office, maybe 2000, whatever, 8, there was a naval vessels. What was the rest of it? I can't. Bush signed into law, something called the competitive advantage or edge, quality and military edge, maybe QME, something like this. Y'all could check it out to make sure if I'm right. And effectively what that said, which is insane, is that the United States had committed itself by law to ensure forevermore that Israel, that a foreign country, would always have the superior weaponry in the Middle East. That we would always ensure that no matter what the other countries in the Middle East had, the United States, and in other words, the white race, would make sure that Israel, by law, had better weaponry. And that is what a bunch of Israel firsters, whether in Israel or the United States or elsewhere, are now bitching about. They said, you've got a law that says that you have to make sure that we have superior equipment compared to everyone else in the Middle East. And if you sell them the F-35s, that's what you've sold us. So we wouldn't have an advantage. We wouldn't have an edge on everyone else. And Saudi Arabia, they further complained, is quite close. The speed an F-35 could travel, they would be here in the blink of an eye. And so therefore, you cannot make this sale unless, some of these Israeli firsters are saying, unless you get the Saudis to sign on to the Abraham Accords. You get them to sign on to the Abraham Accords as a condition for the sale, then we would be okay with them being sold F-35s. It's curious because I think they wouldn't be okay with it, even as a condition. I'm guessing that there is pressure to ensure that the Saudis get the junk F-35s, the basic F-35. Currently, Israel gets custom F-35s. They get the most advanced tech, and it's updated regularly on the F-35s that you and I and all the rest of the white population build and create with our genius and then pay for to be sent over there to make sure that little country, that hostile little belligerent shit, can annihilate all of its neighbors at any desire, any moment that they wish. So my guess is that we'll end up with the basic version of the F-35 being sent over to Saudi Arabia, sold to them, and Israel will continue to have their state-of-the-art, advanced, customized F-35s. And then the Israel firsters will be fine with the sale. But it is interesting. I don't know that Trump needs to sell F-35s to them. So I don't know exactly, and none of us can know. It would be pure speculation. But interesting that he would sell anything like that to them. Might it be that he is creating a counterbalance to Israel in the Middle East? Saudi Arabia, they've been pretty lousy militarily. They cooperate with the United States, but on their own, not the best fighters, not the best military. Will the United States be holding regular high-level training for the Saudis when it comes to the F-35s and their operation? Will the F-35s be equipped with kill switches by the United States that the Saudis won't know about? Will they be equipped with kill switches that the Saudis will know about? I don't imagine that anything is going to be left to chance. And of course, we here know that there's no use in complaining about Israel firsters because bitching about them doesn't hurt them. Bitching about them doesn't undermine them. Bitching about them doesn't pull them down. Bitching about them doesn't bring the day when they disappear and go live on a better planet somewhere else. No, the only thing that can contend with Israeli firsters are Western kind firsters, a people to contend. And that then we have an opportunity to say, no, this isn't in our interests as Westmen, white men, women, and children. It isn't in our interest. It doesn't serve our well-being to have this qualitative military edge, law on the books, requirement on the books, so that Israel can always have this advantage vis-a-vis everyone else in the Middle East. It's not serving us. If anything would serve the United States, it would be a balance of power in the Middle East so that we could play them off of each other to always get what we wanted at the end of the day. Maybe even three powers that could all balance each other out. But it wouldn't work for Israel, and so therefore not going to work for the Israel firsters. Tag me as No White Guilt if you have any thoughts on this sale. Is the sale going to take place? Is Saudi Arabia going to get the state-of-the-art F-35s, or are they going to get the basic bitch model? Is it going to come with a kill switch so that the U.S. can turn them off if they ever decide to be in a conflict engage in any sort of conflict with Israel? Kind of like pagers blowing up. Could you just see all of the $110 million F-35s suddenly blow? Now, it couldn't be that. I'm sure the Saudis will disassemble them. But something hidden in the software, now that's something else. Alex is here. CKO is here. Dennis is here. Tag me as No White Guilt. We're going to have the Rebel Roundtable when we're done here for an hour to 2 hours at absolute max. on X, you're welcome to come and join us over there. You'll have an opportunity to speak. You just ask for the microphone and I can pass it over to you. Mestizo Cuff is with us. Good to see you, brother. It's hard to have beef with fictional characters, but I swear to God, that Labubu creature. Oh my God, I agree. How about the Labubu creature and everybody who owns them? Janice says, cheers. Good to see you, Janice. Odin Party says, they mention human rights in relation to Syrian trade. I remember back in the 90s, Canada's parliament having concerns about trading with China over their human rights issues. Yeah. As Canada executes white people by way of maids like there's no tomorrow. Azimuth Clark is in the house. Karina. Hello and welcome. HHH is here. Good to see you. Jeff, hello to you and welcome. All right, remember to tag me as @ no white guilt. Is the audio still working? Is making sure it's not clipping again. Checking over here to see if we got any tags, any thoughts on this. Tits Me is over here on Premium Rumble. Do you think a $2,000 tariff refund should be given out? Do you think whites or others, non-white people, would profit more? I think a lot of white people would put it right into the savings account or right in the checking, put it right to bills. Some of the others, they might immediately go and blow it. The whole idea, I would imagine, behind even the conversation, whether or not it actually ends up happening, the $2,000 checks, has much more to do with the coming election than anything else. Especially when it's difficult to articulate how you actually can derive so much, maybe even all of the funding by way of tariffs without unduly harming economically the population at all. It's just, I mean, for the love of God, look at how dumb people are. You can't even explain the easiest things. So you can imagine some talking head economist showing up saying, oh, well, when Trump puts these tariffs, it means that you, the consumer, pay all the additional funds for the whole country of China. And the vegetables out there will just be like, okay, and because they can't compute. So things are broken down. Really complex things are broken down for the midwittery. And it comes down to the tariffs are working so good that I can give you $2,000. I just got to figure out all the red tape and figure out exactly how to issue it and etc. And then the idiots can be like, wait, I'm going to get money out of this? Then they can understand how tariffs actually raise money for the country. Lost Pilgrim's Journey says the Saudis will install Chinese chips. I don't know that into the F35s. I don't know that that would work very well. Maybe. I would imagine, though, that Lockheed Martin has designed these things so that you can't just retrofit somebody else's software and there not be an issue. But you know, little is left up to chance at that level. But even if they did put Chinese software on it, one of the concerns that Israel firsters have mentioned is, well, what if, since Saudi Arabia is friendly with China, friendly with Russia, what if they end up then being able to have a look at these F-35s and break them down and build their own versions of them as a consequence? That's really rich coming from Israel, when over the years there's been report after report after report of them selling American tech directly to Russia and China. Now, I haven't been present, so I don't have to contemplate such things more deeply than this. But I think probably if Israel has it, then they are sharing with whatever entities will provide them with a greater advantage. It's my assumption. But I don't know. What are you thinking about it? Great to see you, dear brother. It's the great Maverick is in the live chat, ladies and gentlemen. We've got our quick news. Say hello to the great Maverick. Good to see you, brother. Cool Papa J Magic is here as well. We've got our quick news and laughs, and we have another little micro experiment with dating app Tinder. How does it work out for your average guy, and that being the 90% that don't have the prettiest faces? How does it work out for us? Is there any sense in being on a dating app? We spoke a little bit to that. Let me play this before we move on, though. Brett Baer and a conversation with Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary.
I go back to the first one, the military. There had been concern at some time in the Pentagon about...
Is the audio working on that?
giving the F-35s or selling the F-35s with that technology. Israel had raised concerns about it as well, that maybe China could eventually get that technology, or maybe it's not the best thing. What changed in the president's mind on that front?
Well, I think the Saudis have shown that they are valuable allies in the region. It was the Saudis who stepped up during the 12-day war with Iran, during the B-2 Operation Midnight Hammer. So I think the Saudis really showed that they are the premier military player in the area, and during a time of stress, they were 100% behind the U.S.
So Trump even mentioned something along the lines of Saudi Arabia being a really strong non-NATO ally. All things that I don't think that Israel. You always have to ask, though. This is why you can't make any. And thank you all for telling me the audio was working. You can't come to any really firm conclusions about these things because we're so limited on the information that we can actually glean from our perspective, from where we are. But you always have to wonder, like, is the Israeli complaint for show? Is it not actually substantive? Now, charlatans online, content creators, will take the information that's filtered and sanitized from the US or Vietnam or whatever, and they'll make some sort of a case, and they'll tell you definitively from their bedroom or their office or whatever it is, geopolitically, what's going on in the world. That's not a reflection of what's actually going on, as though that information could benefit you anyhow. That is a product of entertainment. And they get you thinking that you're on the inside and you understand what's going on. You're the rube if you allow that to happen to you. You're the rube. You are being taken by the huckster. Even if you don't donate to them, even if you don't financially gift, your ass in the seat is enriching them because they're getting paid for your ass in the seat. Never forget that. You're just ending up wasting your time with these losers. But that's why we focus on our lives and the outcomes that we can effectuate with the Go Free stratagem. Let's get to our quick news and laughs, shall we? Let me know the audio is working as well. The echo should be gone. Give it up for Stop Anti-Whiteism. Anti-whites are all responsible. That's another thing to never forget, is you hold anti-whites collectively responsible. Collective responsibility for anti-whites. Anti-white policy. So in application, what does that mean exactly? Well, you're at home and you're sitting at the dinner table and this happens. Somebody in your family leans anti-white. Well, you could tell them, hey, your sentiments, your notions, your anti-white notions led to this. It's your beliefs that did this. That pins the death of these people from this accident on the family member. So collective responsibility, never forget that when we're talking to friends, strangers, family, in any of our circles of influence. If they hold anti-white sentiments, you browbeat them with the consequences of anti-whiteism. You have seen the success of anti-whiteism inflicted on us by browbeating us, not only with anything that they, from reality, that they could twist to say is the fault of all of us based on our birth. Remember, anti-whites are collectively responsible for the consequences of their beliefs, not their birth. So it's legitimate to say that anti-whites are collectively responsible for this. The gang rapes, collective responsibility. The rapists who get 30 days in jail and they're set free and they go and kill somebody or rape somebody else, collectively responsible. Aunt Jane, collectively responsible. Amen. Stop anti-whiteism. Excellent clip. Breaking: elected Democrats just released a video encouraging members of the military to commit treason and defy orders from Trump and Hegseth.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
who take risks each day
To keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
Against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
So I really want you to contemplate, they're able to do this because of the social morality of the United States. Republicans are not able to tell military members or any violent enforcement by the state, you can refuse to do whatever the Democrats tell you to do. They can't do that, not just because they have ginas, whether they're male or female, but because of the social morality. You really think you're going to be able to compete on the field of violence where their elected officials can come forward and they can tell everybody of every rank that it's your duty to refuse their orders of Trump and Hegseth? If you decide that those orders are illegitimate, get real. Here it is. In Canada, 95.8% of medical assistant in dying MAID recipients in 23 who responded to a voluntary data collection question identified as white. This is disproportionately high compared to the overall Canadian population, white population in the once great country of Canada, which is 69%. 0.8% white. So almost 100% of the assisted suicide in Canada is white people. And we look at all of their adverts. We look at where they push it. And it's everything we've seen targets white people for suicide. How do we get to the point? And now in Canada, remember, I'm not reporting this. I'm sharing what others have reported. Check it out for yourself. But we have some Canadians confirming that these numbers are correct. But do check it out for yourself. How do we get to a point where you can have a formerly white country, a great country of Canada, now in the hands of anti-whiteism, everything antithetical to what built the country, and they're targeting white people for suicide, and they're pushing now to even lower the age so that more and more, what kind of children? White children. They'll say the words just children. All the adverts will show white children. And then we'll see the data that, well, geez, nearly 100% of the children committing suicide with the aid of the state are white. You cannot defeat this without supplanting the social morality. Of course, here you have how everything is organized and situated in the West for the white male to be a huge success. Corporate America pledged to hire more non-whites, so to white erase their workforce, and it actually did. It said in 2020, nearly 1 million white Americans were fired. And at the same time, over 2 million Hispanics and nearly 1 million Chinese and Indians were hired. So remember this when you're online or you're with family and they're saying, there's no anti-whiteism in the world. There's nothing is geared to undermine white people, and specifically white males. Never happens. Now, it's pertinent to point out here what we teach, that our brothers and sisters, irrespective of all this data, are living in the anti-white narrative. The human animal lives in a narrative, not in reality. It can have portions of reality, but it's largely a fiction or fictionalized reality. And so in that fictionalized reality, all those made-for-TV movies, all those Hallmark movies, it's all society is geared to benefit white males. And so that's how, irrespective of these articles being put in their face and these headlines being put in their face, they'll still come to the conclusion that all of society is geared to benefiting white males and that more and eternally has to be done for non-white people. This is biospiritual incompatibility, ladies and gentlemen, a funeral.
Give it to him, baby. Go, girl. Now do it quick. Do it quick. There you go.
This is the culture that we need to be enriched by, the anti-whites tell us. Take a look at this young lady pulled over for potentially DUI.
Flashlight, you mind stand right there for me? And could you face me? Actually, face this way. There you go. So no.
And now, after he gets done with the traditional DUI examination, he's going to segue into the yoga DUI examination with this one at least. United Nations. Just wanted to show this image here. Isn't that nice of the United Nations? White woman with a non-white baby. Yeah, there's no anti-whiteism in the world. There are 8 federal offices of health in America dedicated to women, 8 of them. How many dedicated to the health of men? 0. That is a consequence of anti-whiteism, destroying the white male. Are non-white males inadvertently here and there also harmed by that targeting? Yes, that's called collateral damage. That evidence doesn't mean that there is a global group that is trying to drive all the different races of people apart and just harm all of us uniformly. No, there is one ideology. It is anti-whiteism. Oh my God. I don't know if y'all saw this ad from J. Crew, but when I saw it, it's a sweater they're actually selling, purports all over the internet, $168 for this for a guy. And what it really looks like is it is the before picture for a testosterone ad. Or J. Crew is actually selling this, and it comes with a free estrogen-laden latte. Breaking, Charlotte, North Carolina confirms of its 900,000 residents, more than 150,000 of them are foreigners. Yeah, the whole country. The plug has to be pulled on the whole country. Judge just lodged a detainer on a 17-year-old illegal, a foreigner from Mexico, charged with hitting a female in the skull with a hammer to kidnap and rape her as she was jogging. A foreigner from Algeria raped 2 women in the back of his taxi in separate incidents. And he was released by Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. You know him. It's happening throughout the United States. Foreign gangs are terrorizing residents in Wisconsin, going out at night and sneaking through the woods and coming up on people's homes. And look at these wonderful imported anti-white, non-white terrorists. How about this? Little Maura Garrity. Little girl was killed this week in Boise by a foreigner. I guess was he driving and he ran her over? 0 stories. New York Post, Washington, or New York Times, Washington Post, Associated Press. Not a single national media outfit covering it. A foreigner from El Salvador has been convicted of first-degree rape of a child under the age of 13 in Louisiana. This has been a busy week for anti-white terrorism. Career criminal, registered sex offender, recently released from prison, accused of randomly stabbing a woman to death. There you have another one. I'm sure he's a teenager or an American citizen. A foreigner from Honduras has been arrested for molesting multiple young girls, ages 7, 9, and 11, at a Long Island TJ Maxx. So are all of the other strategies, when they come into your Twitter spaces, your X spaces, and they say, we need to do this strategy that has been implemented for generations, and now we're at this point, what do you think of them now? Here you have Islam is the religion of peace, of course. And look, actually, I saw this, and the first thing I thought was, wow, a little terrorist action figure. No, of course not. She's absolutely a precious little thing in a Glad trash bag. How about this? 48 mosques have opened in Texas just in the last 24 months. Oh, the great state of Texas. Won't be red for long. Back to Mexico and the drug cartel.
Cartels are dominating everything here in Mexico. They are in all the offices of the government, in the states, in the cities, and in the national government.
Is Mexico a narco state?
Yes, it is. And we all Mexicans know about it. And Mexicans are afraid of the alliance between the Mexican government and the cartels.
All right, so just putting to bed the claims by some Jewsburgs recently that this was a revolution against Jews in Mexico. they're brain dead, for the love of God. Check out these sweet little white females and what the kind of things that they're up to when they're on their little vacations and spring breaks.
What's the craziest thing you and your friends are going to do this spring break with a dude?
Probably like sucking the...
Sucking the... Cool.
Ooh,
Did that?
we did that.
How many of y'all?
7.
7 of y'all? One dude?
One dude.
He's a lucky guy.
He's a lucky guy.
This is the same type of woman that's going to make a video in 2 weeks and being like, why don't you respect me? Why don't you respect me you're so as if a...
Yeah, exactly. For women, taking off a bra at the end of the day is pure bliss. What's the male equivalent? Matt responds shockingly. It is also taking off a woman's bra at the end of the day. Here you have some of the fake news at the BBC. This guy was lying down in Ukraine as though he were in the midst of combat to report on combat, and little old lady walks by with her dog.
There might have incoming fire coming into this now. Artillery fire. There are loads of civilians around. Families coming out. There's a lady there with her dog following on. This is the edge.
Might be hard to see, but it is a little old lady with a little dog. And she's like, are you okay? I'm guessing in Ukrainian. Why are you lying down? Just so we're clear. Remember, you have to investigate this for yourself. He says, we now have concrete proof. And this is this guy a congressman? We now have proof, found guilty on all counts in the court of law, that there was a Hollywood sex cult that owned daycares, 11 of them worldwide, and they were found guilty of sex trafficking. Check it out for yourself. He says, if that isn't news, what could be news? Listen to these two talk about, these two are even, they consider themselves leftists, I think. They're both lawyers, but they're pointing out a lot of these fake videos that are going to get anti-whites on the left in a lot of trouble.
Fake news you might have fallen for this week. First, this guy's made a few videos pretending to be pulled over by Border Patrol. But then he speeds off and acts like you don't actually have to stop for Border Patrol.
You're Border Patrol? Don't worry about what I'm doing, man. Can't believe I just pulled over for Border Patrol.
These videos are fake. Los Santos Border Patrol is not a thing. Los Santos is a city in Grand Theft Auto 5 where people like to play as Border Patrol. But
Unbelievable. These people are so dumb.
the people in the comments seem to think that this is real, with many even claiming that Border Patrol can't legally pull you over.
And look how many likes these...
Yeah, the likes are... Yeah, the top one is almost 500,000 likes. And the bottom one is almost 1 million people thinking that this was real.
Comments have. This just isn't correct. Border Patrol absolutely can legally pull you over in certain situations.
Now, they can't pull you over for regular stuff like speed, but they can pull you over at any border checkpoint or anytime they have reasonable suspicion of an immigration-related offense.
So we hate to be the old crotchety lawyers online who warn you about stuff, but this video is kind of dangerous. It might lead people to believe that they can just legally flee from Border Patrol.
Second, this video.
A veteran was charged with murder after killing 3 teenagers who broke into his home to rob him. The people who charged him were the parents of the teenagers he killed. The incident took place in Rockdale County, Georgia.
This is super insidious, as they're going to point out. They take a real piece of news and then they add AI and a bunch of fake information.
Around 4 a.m.
If you hadn't fought back, my son would still be alive. He only wanted to rob you, and you killed him. You're gonna pay for that.
Shut up! The one who should pay is you. I declare that the defendant's actions were justified self-defense.
So this is a new type of rage bait video. They take a small bit of truth from a real case and then use AI and unrelated B-roll footage to enrage you.
Here, the initial story is true. A homeowner was robbed by 3 teens, and he did shoot them in self-defense. But there's no record of a lawsuit against him or any murder-related charges at all.
This clip of the mom is just AI, as is this clip of the judge.
I declare that the defendant's actions were justified self-defense.
Judges don't just say, I declare, and then end the case. And the video mentions that this happened in Georgia, but for some reason this is showing NYPD cars.
These rage bait videos are everywhere lately. We'd like to say that if it sounds too ridiculous to be true, then it likely isn't true. But in today's world, ridiculous stuff does happen all the time, so just be careful.
Yeah, the internet is nothing but Bravo Sierra. Take a look at this idiocy. Wind blowing at 100 miles an hour versus the Earth spinning at 1,040. All right, so these are the tards out there claiming that the world is flat, and that evidence of it is that the world can't be rotating at 1,040 miles per hour when a 100-mile-an-hour wind does this. And you even have this comment over here. Somebody wrote, "Miss first grade science class, did we?" And this person writes back, "What if I did? What information am I missing that explains this?" Respectfully, of course. Well, it's not the easiest thing for most people to explain the obvious, but here's a way. I'll try to break it down for the tards. You're driving in the car and you can throw a balloon up in the air. Why doesn't the balloon, if you're going 80 miles an hour, pop against the rear window? Because everything in the cabin of the vehicle is traveling at 80 miles an hour. How about an airplane? You're going 500 miles an hour. How are you able to get out of your seat and walk to the front of the cabin to use the bathroom? You can only walk 3-4 miles an hour. 500 miles an hour, you should be thrown to the back of the plane and crushed as a consequence. But no, everything in the cabin is going 500 miles an hour. Furthermore, talking about the weather, you can be in an airplane traveling at 500 miles an hour, and you can fan yourself with a magazine. How is it that the air off of the magazine that you're fanning towards your face isn't blown away? But again, because the air is traveling with the rest of the airplane. And it is also true, this isn't getting into the real nuts and bolts. We could get into the fact that we are in a vacuum of space, and therefore there isn't an atmosphere beyond the planet Earth against which the Earth's atmosphere is rotating, and therefore we're getting an interplay of the Earth's rotation. No, the entire atmosphere of the world, including you, including the trees, are all moving at 1,040 miles an hour. So you don't know. There is no evidence of it. The rotation of the Earth does cause there to be weather patterns, but that's something completely different. Those are taking place within the cabin of the airplane. You can set up a fan inside the cabin of an airplane, and you could blow air through the inside of the cabin, and that's created by the fan inside the cabin in the air that is all traveling 500 miles an hour inside the cabin. Good God. This is how dumb. And not only that, but again, this is another example of rage bait, of manipulation, of carnival barking, and you end up being the rube when you show up for this entertainment. This is hilarious. This guy, others are doing this. They're going out as a joke into the public. They're finding older people who are completely ignorant of AI and how it operates and what it's capable of. And they're taking pictures of these people, or maybe short video, and then they're creating an AI video of them doing something they would never, ever do. And so here you have an old guy and his old wife, and he goes up and he's like, "Is this you? Because this girl, this pretty girl that came up to you in the red and black shirt is stealing." And in the video, as the husband and wife watch, this attractive woman gives the old husband a little kiss.
The lady in the red and black shirt, do you know where she went? The lady that was with you?
That's her.
No, this lady. The lady that you were with, you're talking to?
You sure that's me?
Yeah.
Well, that's you. But...
He says, "Are you sure that's me?" And the wife says, "No, that's you."
I don't know her.
She was stealing, and we're looking for her.
Oh. Oh. What?
I don't know.
I bet they had a heck of a time after that video. Take a look at this. Excited to announce I have accepted a job for $15 an hour at McDonald's. I graduated from Cornell with a 4.0 GPA and have a master's in engineering. White females now complaining that they're getting the same treatment that white males have had for 60 years. You all used to be able to be part of the white erasure of white males. Now they just don't need you as much to white erase us anymore. They can get guys from other countries, and that's what they're going to do. This is how it feels, bitches. And for the cuteness factor, this little dog copies the owner. I've done that with my dogs before. All right, finally, we have this from Sound Advice for men out there in having conversations with their wives.
Wives hate when their husbands fall asleep on the couch. That's because these women lack empathy and have the emotional intelligence of a toddler. Why do you think they run into the kitchen and start slamming around dishes? Sounds like a tantrum to me. Husbands love when their wives fall asleep on the couch, because when wives are asleep, they do way less damage. They're not wasting money on overpriced seasonal decor. They're not thinking of ways to start an argument. They're not voting. Fellas, your wife is right, though. You shouldn't be asleep on the couch, neglecting chores and getting fatter. That's her job. Flex on your wife with Sound Advice merch.
Let's rock it out.
Here we fucking go! Go free with me, yeah. Take that ride. Pushing back hard, we won't be denied. No more silence, no apathy. Do you got what it takes to go free with me?
Anglo-Saxon NWG, Epic Peace, give him a salute. Arden Party says here, not only are the adverts in Canada for sister suicide white only, there is a law in Canada that requires representation in advertising. So the government is either absorbing the fine or just not charging itself. Wow.
Will you lock it down till the bitter end? Go free with me, yeah. Take that ride. Pushing back hard, we won't be denied. No more silence, no apathy. Do you got what it takes to go free with me? Can you call out anti-whites? Hell yeah, that's right. Will you carry through the night? Fall back down from the fall. Go free with me, yeah. Take that ride. Pushing back hard, we won't be denied. No more silence, no apathy. Do you got what it takes to go free with me?
Totally epic piece by the great Anglo-Saxon NWG. We have over here on D Live, Truth is Our Reality, saying, hello, Jason and friends. Well, big hello back to you, brother. We're going to be getting into our final item this evening, which is this, not even the whole video we're not even going to watch. It's just the pertinent part here at the, I guess, midway to the end or or 2/3 of the way through. We'll be getting to that in just a moment. Little study that was done on Tinder. We have Landa the Fake is pointing out that Qatar gave Trump a $400 million plane, and he is using as Air Force One. I think that, yes, they did, but I don't know, is he using it yet? Because they have to disassemble the entire thing, everything all the way down to the little nuts and bolts, and then reassemble it before he uses it. But that was a great gift indeed. Or, so it was already a produced airplane, or are they just buying the airplane from the U.S. manufacturer for Trump? So it's being created, or, well, it's not directly to Trump, right? It was in his name, but to the government. I don't see any other tags over here. Thank you all for coming over for this gathering, this Roland Gathering Wednesday Church of the West. Maverick says, is this a sloth song? It is an Anglo-Saxon NWG song. But of course, Sloths has made many rocking, ass-kicking songs. Ay, ay, ay is here. Lucid Words is here as well. I think Problematic Biospirit I saw here. And Cindy Bin, the great Cindy Bin, is in the house. Great to see you. All right, remember, tag me as symbol no white guilt so you can get my attention. I hope you're enjoying the festive fall, autumn, holiday, happy Thanksgiving theme that we have here now. It is all, of course, because Maximilian von Fuck, our AI, who escaped from the Pentagon, is now in service to White Wellbeing. He is here with us. So what happened here? This was a tiny study that a content creator did. And what did he want to prove? He wanted to prove, I guess, the reality of what takes place on these dating sites. Now, I don't really consider, you can tell me your thoughts. Do you really consider Tinder a dating site? Everything that I have read, everything that I've seen about the kind of things that happen from Tinder is that this is just a screw site. You just find people to have sex with. So it's like the least serious of all of the dating sites. It's a hookup site, as I understand it. And you all can, like I said, if you know, I mean, I know Mark found his wife there, but I think that's probably pretty rare. I think people are most often getting on Tinder. I've seen it at the workplace. I've caught people that I've managed swiping, and I'm like, what are you doing? Get to work before you lose your job. And it was Tinder. That's happened more than once. So not exactly the best place to do such a study. Although we found Tinder, I believe, was one of the 4 big ones several years. I mean, how many years ago was it now? 4 years or so ago, that shared all their data. And so they were able to take a look. People were able to take a look at the data and see that all of these sites were the same, that females found that there were like 15% of the guys were attractive enough to date or to investigate, maybe more of long-term on some of those sites. So dating, to investigate some sort of a long-term partner, maybe even marriage. While men found 80+% of the females attractive. Such a huge... when we were young, we were told that guys, the only thing guys care about is looks, when the reality is the only thing girls care about, at least when they have high sexual market value, when they're younger, when they're firmer, when they don't have other things compromising that market value, they find the looks are the most important thing of all. There's a wide range of looks that a guy, if he can find a girl who will treat him right and will be a good companion, he'll find that attractive. A wide range of looks, a very wide range, but not for the ladies. The data shows, of course, lived experience and paying attention to these sorts of things. I remember all the way back to elementary school. And, they say females sexually mature faster. And so I had no interest in girls when I was in elementary school. But I was mesmerized by the reality that out of all of the little boys in the school, there were only 2 of them that all the little girls were giggly about. Only 2 of the little boys out of all of the little boys in the school. All of the little girls had their eye on just 2 of the little boys. So it's put to bed. It's dead. Girls care all about looks until they get older. Looks is all that matters. And in particular, not even the body. They can appreciate a nice body, but it's really the face and the hair, how pretty it is for so many of their years. And then they get older, and then analogs for that come into play. But make no mistake, they haven't suddenly found these guys attractive. Not at all. And that's why you have a number of problems that result in relationships as a consequence of women feeling contempt for the guy that they're with. They shouldn't have to be with such a lowly guy as equal to them on any objective scale of looks, because in their minds, he's far too low on the scale of looks. And that's a big part of it. This content creator had, in some recent months, done a video, or recent weeks, done a video on an average looking guy, a mid guy, that they created an account on Tinder with, and he did poorly, even on just some sex, not even just some sex, and he did poorly. So this guy wanted to follow up and compare by asking for the assistance of a very handsome content creator to participate, and he would run an account. And unfortunately, I guess, this other content creator, the really handsome guy, he wasn't getting paid, I'm assuming, and he was just doing a favor, so he really slacked off. And the results are still astonishing. Let's take a look.
4 said yes. Not bad for 6 days worth of work. And now to show you.
By the way, important point of starting there was that this little micro experiment was only 6 days long.
Further proof of how easy it was. Here are some screenshots of his message conversations.
Now, these are the message conversations of the handsome guy with females on Tinder. They had some interaction. Now, I want you to reflect upon the experiment that I did, and I told you all about the other day, many years back, and the kind of conversations that ended up taking place when we decided to take it to that final step before wrapping up the experiment, where girls would write little novelettes to this pretty guy that didn't actually exist. Well, I mean, I guess he did, but we don't know who he is. We wrote back just little one-liners like, "That's great. You should have like a little novelette, like 8 paragraphs or more. And then, that's great. When do you want to hook up?" And these broads would write back things like, "You're so funny. I would love to get together. You're so funny. I would love to get together." I want you to think about also, as we're looking at this, how women will talk about things like, well, this guy, it's not his looks. It's that he is so funny. Really? Is that what it is? Oh, it's that he's confident. He's got a lot of confidence. No shit, he has confidence, because 90% of you are throwing yourselves at him. Let's just take a look at what he sees.
Showing the lack of effort and game required to still get women to follow along. Do you want to cure me for my loneliness?
I don't speak German, babe.
Love does not need a language. Drop me your number.
157. Hey.
One night stands?
Sure.
Do you want to cure me for my loneliness?
Come to my place.
Where do you live?
Frankfurter Ring. And you? Here's my Snapchat. Text me.
Yeah, that's what happens for the rest of us guys too. Yeah. Do you want to cure me for my loneliness? See, this guy was like just effing off.
For a peanut butter eater, you are in good shape.
There needs to be a balance.
I'd like to pick you up, but then I would also eat all your peanut butter.
That would be bad.
I would also you.
That would be better.
Nice. Are you going to give me your number?
016.
I like your style.
Thanks.
How about a round of hip-hop dancing?
No, but I can do a split for you.
On the floor? You'd be cuter if you responded.
On top of you. Hey, you over there.
Hello?
So,
Are you going to give me your number? We'll set something up for later.
I don't know you yet.
That's what dates are for. So, your number?
017. Hey, you over there.
Do you have time this week?
For what?
A date?
I'd love to, but this week I'm extremely busy. And all you want to have is right?
Of course. Only.
I'd do it, because I'm but I don't have time.
Are you going to give me your number? We can set something up for later.
017.
I want to do yoga with you.
Guys, I want you to think about like all the articles you read about how to talk to women and how to get them interested and how to initiate that conversation and how to keep that conversation going. There are guys out there, there are women out there, and they're selling you all kinds of programs. There's not a chance in hell. This is the reality of being in the top 10% of pretty face guys. And remember what I've told you. I've had two of these guys in that top 10% of pretty faces, very pretty hair and pretty faces. And their existence is night and day to the rest of us. Night and day. I think I told you a couple of the examples. One that comes to mind immediately as there was this bar, this restaurant bar, and when you would walk in, you would be kind of on these elevated steps at this door. And so you're presented to the totality of this bar. Bars on both sides, and these little standing tables all running through the center. And I would go into that place, and no one, I just thought it was normal. And I guess it is. No one looking up as you come in, and then you descend and you go. But the first time I went with one of these pretty boys was insane. We stepped in, and it was like all of these women, 20s and early 30s, all of them, their faces, they had a radar. They all just turned. All of these faces were looking at us. And it was all women. I could not believe it. I could not believe. That's the life that they live. So when people want to sit down and talk about how do we correct the relationships in the white race, how do we get people starting families, this is the biggest hurdle. This is it. This is the biggest hurdle. Women have to learn the pretty guy will bang you, and while he's banging others, and then he'll move on. He will use you. So when this guy, I don't know, maybe they'll show, I'll back it up and you can see him. When a guy that looks like this shows up, move right along. Like we do when we see women that are that attractive. Move right along. This is insane. You're going to come to the guys and say, well, you need to take better care of yourself. I was a shredded machine, very healthy, very everything, but not in that top 10% of prettiest, and zero interest. Zero. And guys, do not be interested in try to pick up a woman who's not interested in you. Have some dignity. For the love of God, all of this, learn the game, learn how to talk to her. Why would you want to trick somebody into being with you? What? How disgusting.
Really?
Yes, when are you free? You'd be cuter if you responded.
Soon.
Are you going to give me your number?
+4917.
So, as you can see, our guy was able to navigate his way texting with little to no resistance, getting numbers with ease. The girls made references sometimes, and in a few cases, the girls double texted or opened on him, which are both considered very strong choosing signals.
Now, mind you, that this is not a here's a person on Tinder and this is what it looks like. This is a comparison with a mid guy and what he had to do, how many messages he had to send, and how many messages he got back, and opportunities for dating as a consequence.
And this is all on top of the fact that I don't even think his game was perfectly optimized. He told me himself for a lot of messages he was joking around. I mean, I want to do yoga with you? What is this crap? If a sub 5 sent this, he'd never in a million years get the girl's number 5 messages later. Put simply, only the top 10% of men get this kind of treatment online, and the screenshots are there to prove it. Now, for the final few minutes of the video, I want to draw comparisons of our Chad's results today.
Okay, there he is. That's the guy. And he's also fit, by the way. He's also in shape.
To the first
but it wouldn't matter if he wasn't.
Experiment I showed of the normie 4 months ago. This is where you'll really see the difference being a Chad makes. So follow along by allowing me to explain for the final 3 minutes, and I'll prove to you that Chads have approximately a 10 times easier time on dating apps than
10 times. 10 times. Do you know what that is? 1,000% of a better chance. Now, I want you to really think about that, guys, when you're thinking about how much time you're going to waste. How much time you'll waste, how much money you'll waste on dating apps, how much time or money you'll waste with younger women. Unless you're ready to go to like the 1s and the 2s or whatever, if you're like a mid 1s and the 2s, unless you're willing to do that, 1,000% success rate relative to yours. 1,000, 10 times easier. 1,000% easier to hook up with a woman. 1,000. Just fix your game. Just walk around like you're more confident. Holy shit. Holy shit. In other words, no women are rejecting the pretty guy. None. None of them are saying to themselves that, forget about it. This guy's going to be all over town getting women every day, all day to the end of time. And that's what I would have to live with. None of them saying that.
Normies. Here goes. I've stated before that Tinder for guys is like one big funnel. And each layer leads to a smaller pool of options and more women leaking out. So, by the end, your results are reduced to a mere handful. That's if you have any at all. And the point is, the efficiency of each of these layers is crucial because...
Hyperborean Dream is right, in order of magnitude. I told you all the story. Driving down the road, the first time it happened, I had one of the friends of mine that was a pretty boy. And first time I was driving with him in the car, and never in my life, and never any other time without a pretty guy in the car, have I ever experienced females acting in other cars, acting like there was Jesus himself. Like I was driving around with some well-known and filthy rich and attractive actor. You don't need to be any of that. We would literally pull up at lights, and if girls saw, the first time it was 3 girls, I think it was, in a car, and either the passenger or the driver looked over, and then they were like, I don't know, out of their minds, I guess maybe. They were all like, and smiling all big, and they were pointing and giggling and laughing, and then he just gives he sees them doing, he gives a little chuckle because it happens all the time. And it was so sobering after I dropped him off because I had to get back out on the road. I had to stop at stoplights. I had to have other females in cars around me, and magically nothing like that happening. I mean, for the love of God, forget the conversation. Any woman that pretends like this isn't the reality, just stop the conversation. She's lying. No more conversation. No more conversation, because this is the reality.
The amount of leakage per layer multiplies with all of the others. E.g., an efficiency of 50% across a single layer is twice as good as 25%. But across 4 layers, having a 50% efficiency is 16 times more efficient than the 25%. And this is what we see in our experiments. If we break down each layer of leakage for both the Chads and Normie, we see that besides the first layer, which is the input, the next 4 layers yield far better results for the Chads. Therefore, by the end, given the fact they multiplied together, it leads to a 10 times more efficient system. The Normie swiped right 7,886 times, while the Chad 1,019, 8 times less. The Normie got 290 matches, while the Chad got 146, 2 times less. The Normie got 68 conversations, and the Chad also got 68, the same. The Normie got 11 phone numbers, the Chad got 32, 3 times more. Then finally,
the regular guy reached out to 8 times on Tinder. 8 times the number.
The Normie got 3 dates, while the Chad got 4, 33% more. Here you are seeing this multiplying effect in action. The Chad was 4 times more efficient at getting women to swipe right on him, 2 times more efficient at getting women to hold conversations, 3 times more at getting women to give their phone numbers, and lastly 2.5 times less efficient at getting dates. However, if we bear in mind our Chad only messaged 12 of the 32 numbers he got, we see that he was still slightly more efficient on this layer. Now, some guys will cope and say,
well, could you, just before we see what he's going to say about how some guys will cope, could you imagine if the pretty guy here put in any bit of effort? Could you just imagine what the outcome would be?
The reason he got...
So this is, mathematically, the pretty-faced guy is 10 times, 1,000% more successful with no effort, just effing around. How many more times of success would he had if he had put in some genuine effort?
Got better conversion rates was because he had better game, bro. This is flat out wrong. He did better because of looks, not game. I don't need to reread his text conversations to prove that. Here's how it is. Women are always more easygoing and invested when texting a Chad than a Normie or sub 5.
And that's what I found in my experiment. It was like getting blood from a tomato to try to get a conversation out of females. It's obviously not only in the real world, but when you're not one of these guys, but then also on dating sites. It's extremely challenging. You're just like clawing it out of them. Meanwhile, when it's a pretty faced guy, they're writing volumes there, just smoothly and easily, whatever. Suddenly they are very talkative. Suddenly they are super amenable. Suddenly they're everything that's like an insult or an insulting or whatever is just taken as a joke. Isn't that fascinating how that happens? And then they're going to come and criticize you. Then they're going to come and criticize you, the rest of us guys, and they're going to say, well, you're just not trying hard enough. You haven't tried hard enough at work. If you were more of a success at work, then that would make all the difference with the girl. Bull.
They're more likely to give out their number. more likely to message, and in some cases send the opener, more likely to keep the convo going once it's started. That's why the chat's conversion/efficiency rates were better. And the data is even there to prove it. If you're at the bottom attractiveness as a man, 80% of your messages will go ignored. If you're at the top, less than half of them will. Similarly, the most attractive men get 10 times more women opening on them than unattractive guys. So, don't say it was about game. It has very little to do with game. In fact,
10 times more the openers. 10 times, 1,000% more openers from females.
In fact, dating online, your looks is...
But they're just interested in your personality. These girls are really just, they really want to know what kind of a guy you are. They're interested in what your future looks like. They're interested in how ambitious you are. Oh, they need... See, what it was there, a guy who's not in that top 10% of pretty faces, is that you just weren't mysterious enough for her. That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was.
Your game, mostly. Anyway, all in all, when we calculate their efficiencies by multiplying all the layers together, we see our Chad had to swipe right 255 times in order to get a date. Meanwhile, for our normie, he had to swipe more than 2,500. That's 10 times the difference. And this isn't even including the fact the Chad didn't text 2/3 of the girls he got numbers from. This shows the exponential increase of how much it pays to be a Chad. The bottom line is, though there might only be a couple points in looks separating the normie from the Chads, in terms of results, there is a 10 times difference separating them. That's the change being a Chad makes. Anyway, huge shout out to Men's Maxing for gathering the data for the video. It's been really insightful. In fact, if you've been intrigued by this and want to see more on the experiments, Men's Maxing has just uploaded a video at the exact same time as this one with extra content on his experience. And you'll be surprised to know it's not always been this way for him, as he shows...
Amazing. And you can look into it. I love the side by side that we have here of the two principles in the study, because you can really see, the guy on the right is definitely mid and the guy on the left is definitely pretty, and you could see the consequences of that 10 times, and he wasn't even giving a piss of an effort. It was just perfunctory. He was just screwing around. You want to do yoga? Yeah, I'm sure that would work for all the rest of us too, right, guys? You can just walk right up to a girl and you're like, hey, you want to do some yoga? She's going to say, fuck off, prick. Sorry for the language. That's how they talk. Let me see what you all... Interesting how I had not been... I talked about that. More evidence, just as an aside, that we're always being listened to, because I mentioned that study. And then suddenly I get recommended this video. I'm not looking this stuff up. Curious, isn't it? We'll take a look at the financial gifts and anything you all have to say. Make sure you tag me as No White Guilt over here on the Dude Bro Moment platform. He's not here yet, but we know he will make it. Dude Bro Moment, $50 financial gift. Big salutes to the great Dude Bro Moment. Please celebrate our brother. $50 financial gift. We know he's coming. He's holding that $50 bill up in the air. We've got a $25 bill up here on the board right now by Hyperborean Dream. Thank you so much, good sir. Love Hyperborea. $25 for White Wellbeing. And with those dollars and words, we have the words for White Wellbeing. I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. So big salutes and celebration and gratitude to Dude Bro Moment, Hyperborean Dream, and Stefan. Stefan over here, who came in also with a $25 bill. $25 for White Wellbeing. And Stefan says, with his financial gift, he says, Jason, for everything you do. Well, God bless you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so very much, Stefan. Big salute to you. We want to also thank Weldon, who is here tonight, dropping a $5 bill. $5 bill by Weldon. And he writes with the $5, Jesus Christ is God. Thank you so much for that, Weldon. And a $5 bill from First Last. $5 from First Last, and he writes with those five. Right on the $5 bill, he writes, thank you. Well, God bless you. Thank you too, good sir. Let me make sure we didn't miss anybody. Make sure you tag me as No White Guilt. We're going to be getting together almost immediately after this for the Rebel Roundtable. Here on X, No White Guilt NWG, No White Guilt NWG. And I will be looking for you. We'll go for maybe an hour, no longer than 2. And you'll be able to share your thoughts on anything that we covered here today or anything else that you would like to discuss. We want to give a big thank you to Hartza, the House of Hartza, over there on D Live. He's in for 2 lemons of cryptocurrency. Thank you so much, Hartza, and good to see you. I think we had a comment over here on Odyssey. We have, it looks like Wing It Productions. I think it's Wing It Prod, I think it says over there. Wing It Productions. Good to see you, brother. Red Go Free twice. Was there advice in there for our people that are involved in local government or business? You have criticized hiding power levels. What should we do? Share the lexicon. For example, we just had the huge celebration of the great homeless bear at his place of work, where he's this exceptional employee, and he was sent with other exceptional employees from around the country to an event, and they were subjected to an anti-white obedience training. The anti-whites call diversity training. And they were given an opportunity to give an anonymous feedback on a feedback form. And he decided instead to share his name and number because he felt so confident about the Go Free dialogic, the lexicon, the dialectics. And he said, I know this company does not want to be discriminatory of any group, including white people. And in this training, there was a lot of anti-whiteism. I wonder if you are aware of this. They reached back out to him. And they said that the executives had taken a look, and indeed they wanted to speak with him more to fix this training so that it would not be condemnatory, it wouldn't be predacious and exploitative and slandering of white people, and therefore seen as anti-white and a product of anti-whiteism. So depending on your workspace, obviously, if you are working in some just fanatical, radical anti-white environment, and there are some environments that are so fanatic, anti-white environments, that the only thing you can do is keep your head down if you are white. Aside from them, everywhere else, you'll be able to use the concepts and the lexicon to advance white well-being. Great question. And thank you for that, brother. Over there on Odyssey, I don't see any tags here on Rumble. But I thank you all for showing up. I thank everybody for being there. I don't see any more answers to our questions of the day. But First Last pointing out one of his creations that we have adopted and used here, and that is that women won't peer pair. And that's so very true. Earlier in life, they absolutely won't. I mean, how many times can women deny the evidence that we all know? For so long, they denied and lied, but we can all see it. The evidence is everywhere. We saw it before there was this sort of evidence, and we knew it then. And now we have the data to prove it, mountainous data that proves it across various types of online dating platforms, including ones committed totally to long-term relationships. And what do we see? They won't peer pair until they really, what it comes down to, I think, is they see themselves aging out of being able to compete with younger women for these pretty guys. And then suddenly the analogs become important. Is he stable? Will he be a father? As though many of them care about it. Of course, it's not all women, but I think probably all of them there's a touch. But it's a spectrum, and it's heavy on one side. So yeah, then they decide that peer pairing isn't so bad, but they don't see it as peer pairing. They see it as having to deign to be with the guy that is beneath them, and they should have been with the Chad, or with that guy's accent, Chat, for Chad. What, of course, he is defining that as is the prettiest face 10%. Sam Muskie says, it took a great deal of courage for me when I was young to approach women. I've always got a positive response, but always dropped the ball and ran. Looking back, so many opportunities. Seven Sons is with us. Yeah, I forced myself to start conversations. I normally can start conversations with just strangers out and about, male, female, anything. But when I was younger, I made sure that I wouldn't regret. I made sure that I wouldn't look back and say, I should have tried. JK160 is in the house. AOC is here. Any chance, Jason, of getting that historian on soon? I believe his name is that Franco or similar? He always seemed very well informed and interesting. I don't know who that is. Does anybody else know who AOC is talking about? But if somebody wants to chat about white well-being, I will happily have that conversation. With them here or elsewhere. Oh, it looks like Weldon has come in with another $5 bill. Another $5 from the great Weldon. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who has been responding when I ask, how's the audio? Thank you for being on top of that. Weldon, another $5. God bless you, brother. He says, God bless you. I'll join the round table on Twitter. Well, good. I'll be looking for you. All right. Well, AOC, if you figure out the guy's name, then let me know, or West know, or Tree Godfather know. AOC says it was a hyphenated last name. Well, if we can figure it out, we'll investigate and see if we can touch base and have a conversation. But until then, Dr. Duchesne. We actually spoke with Duchesne before on this channel. Maybe we could do that again in the future if that's the guy. All right, folks. Another glorious Wednesday roll in. Had a lot of fun, shared a lot of truth, and hopefully I'll see you over at the round table if you would like to chat at that point. Roll out.
Good time, fella. I ain't black and I ain't yellow. I'm a white man looking for a place to do my thing. I don't want no handout living, don't want any part of anything they're giving. Cause I'm proud and white and I got a song to sing. Well, I said a few things and I'll admit it. If you wanna get ahead, you gotta hump and get it. I'm a white man looking for a place place to